Did the spirit of Poe consume you during filming?
Yeah, it was hard to sleep. I didn't sleep a lot. I didn't sleep for about 8 weeks.
Did you stay in character between scenes?
I think it had certainly we were in Serbia at night and it was winter and it was yeah, we were in Hungary and Serbia and it was it felt that way, but there was something sort of thrilling about it, the way there is in his writing too, where there's a bit of that, you have a bit of that numinous awe where you feel like you may be touching your foot into the other world.
I think John, brings an empathy to any role he does, and I thought it was important that this character of Poe, who's so sort of multifaceted, and some parts of his character not very likable as well, that you had someone that the audience could really connect with, and I thought John was that person. Whether you take his body of films, I mean, I think people really like John, and I think intrinsically he just got Poe too. I mean, he came with the character fully formed, which is sort of unusual.
He was a strange kind of thing because he was famous but destitute, and so there was no money attached to his fame because there was no copyright law. So when he wrote The Raven, it was the most famous poem in America and maybe even in the world, and he was known in France, and I think Baudelaire thought he was some sort of aristocratic lord over, and he didn't know that he lived in a hovel in Baltimore. But he had no money. He had nothing. But he was world famous. So he was kind of a rock star who was, living hand to mouth.
You mentioned the unlikable elements to Poe's character. Was it quite tricky to get that balance right in making him sympathetic to the viewer while not kind of overlooking certain parts of his persona?
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who knows anything about Poe realizes that, he was, a drunkard, or an alcoholic. He was also an opium addict. He was also like this cad about town. So that I think you had to service all the facets that made Poe the person who he was, because they also informed the stories. And trying to make a film which was partially his stories, partially his life, and then how the killer forces him into this funny juncture of that Poe's almost like a character in his own stories. I thought it was important.
But what about Poe's pet raccoon?
The pet raccoon is good. You should talk to John about the raccoon. John was the expert raccoon handler. The raccoon went at him a couple of times, and John kept his cool.
I got along well with the raccoon. I had we had no problems with each other. We sort of had a truce early on.
No attacking?
No, he didn't bite me, and I fed him. And same thing with the Raven.
When I've tested the film, people love it when the raccoon comes on. He gets about as big a cheer as Poe gets, actually.